Welcome back, and now to some of our stories in brief. We begin in Ogun State, where the governor, Mr. Gbajabiamila, has announced the establishment of the Public Works Department to tackle deplorable roads across the state. He gave the indication in Abeokuta, the state capital, during the inauguration Thanksgiving service held at the St. Peter's Cathedral in the state capital. Elsewhere in Imo State, Governor Emeka says his government will respect the principles of separation of power by ensuring the duties of the executive arm of government does not hamper that of the legislature and the judiciary. And the governor made the statement during the swearing-in ceremony of the newly appointed secretary to the government, Uche Onyagocha, and the chief of staff, Chris Ukwelonu, at the executive chambers in the government house, Owerri, the Imo State capital. The Taraba State Governor, Mr. Darius Ishaku, says the disbursement of funds directly to local government chairmen across the country is a welcome development that will ensure all-round development across the state. According to him, he is not against the policy, but investigation should be done to unravel the rationale behind the initial denial to avoid reverting their decisions. He also added that the local government chairmen are handicapped on security, which will in no small measure hamper their performance.
Why was the autonomous to the local government ab initio initially was denied to status quo? You know, when you refuse to do something which you have been doing and you went back to do another, you have to find out why did you run away from the first one to the second one. I think it was inefficiency, lack of drive and delivering of the democracy to the people at the grassroots was what made them to revert.
So let's get some legal opinions on what has become a major national debate after the governors disagreed and then made a U-turn on this particular issue. Joining us is Mr. Emmanuel Anyegbolam. He's the Director of Parliamentary and Constitutional Studies, joins us from Abuja Studios. Many thanks for joining us at this time. Now, the Taraba State Governor has raised an interesting point, saying, why was this not done before? He's questioned the legality of that and why the local government autonomy was denied in the first place. Some might say this is a U-turn from what the Nigeria Governors Forum have put forward, and that is saying that it was unconstitutional, that the NFIU recent guideline is unconstitutional. What's your take?
Well, the issue on ground basically is a constitutional issue in the sense that local government, by Section 7 of Nigerian 1999 Constitution, is guaranteed by the Constitution, not by the governors or any other person. Constitution is part of its own power as the supreme law of the land, guaranteed existence of local government, and then now made it mandatory for each government of the state to establish elected local government. This is the key issue on ground. Then secondly, when the National Assembly moved into this issue some years ago and enacted a law, an act for local government, then the state governors came together and went to court. The Supreme Court agreed with them that National Assembly has no constitutional jurisdiction to make that act and then declare the act unconstitutional. We have seen the recent guideline. The actual question is this: these funds, when given to local government, have been diverted by state governors, which is equally unconstitutional and then illegal, more or less. So the basic situation now is, the governor on focus raised a critical question. Why did we deviate from this? The most outstanding reform on local government happened in 1976. Later, Babangida administration gave local government a full autonomy. Incidentally, it was abused. No doubt about that. But since 1999, we have seen a rather shocking abuse of local government, not only autonomy and finance, by state governors. An issue on ground is Oyo State. The current governor less than 24 hours after taking oath of office to defend, protect and defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and ask God Almighty to aid him. What he did was to do what? Abolish local government established by Constitution. Where Supreme Court in Elsa and Governor of Abia State has established that no state governor has right to do what? Abolish elected local government. The same governor moved into road transport union. If you go into our constitution, you will see that trade unionism is on exclusive list and the fundamental rights. If you go into the constitution, you will see that a governor has no competence to do that. But they have taken undue advantage of the whiteness of the people to do this.
So, Mr.
My take on this is this. Local government constitutionally lies within state jurisdiction. But on the issue of this guideline, we will ask ourselves one critical question. Is a guideline a law? And practically it is not.
And that's where my next question is going to, Mr. Gbajabiamila. The way forward now, is there a constitutional crisis? What do you think about the future of the states and the relationship between states and the local government?
Now, we will take a look at our constitution and see a means, because the issue is section 162(5), where you have joint state-local government accounts. Once local government funds goes into that account, the state governors have always appropriated it. And that was why, converted more or less, and that's why we are in this mess. Therefore, it is now incumbent on each and every one of us to look for a way to amend the constitution and separate this fund. Once you separate that fund, the state governors will not have up to 22% of the allocation. And this will make them to face their constitutional responsibilities. Because the constitution looked on local government as a partnership development project between the state and the government, local governments. But state governors, because of one issue, the election of local government is under state governors, state SEC. And we have seen virtually every election in local government is won by the party in the state. And the state governor himself appoints them more or less. And since there is no transparent elective process in that sphere, it has been a problem. Therefore, we must holistically look at a way of amending the constitution to give local government the deserved autonomy, both in their funds, and then look at a way
we'd like to thank you, Mr. Emmanuel Gbajabiamila. Thank you so much for your thoughts. I mean, the Constitution amendment perhaps seems to be a Herculean task, but, you know, it's definitely an issue that we will continue to talk about. But let's hear from our correspondent, Amaka Okafor. She's covering proceedings for us, several of which is the suit asking the Federal High Court to stop Mr. Gbajabiamila from presenting himself to be elected as Speaker of the House of Representatives, which is coming up for mention today.
There are several cases before the Federal High Court this morning, one of which is the case filed by one Philip Udia, asking the court to stop Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila from presenting himself to the APC or the National Assembly as a candidate for the speakership position of the House of Representatives. Even though there were stories last week that the plaintiff had withdrawn the suit was still listed on the course list of the court this morning and is expected to be mentioned. Now, it is not known whether, when it is mentioned, Mr. Undia will formally withdraw his case against the lawmaker. Mr. Undia had brought the case on the grounds that Honorable Gbajabiamila is a convict of a case by the Supreme Court of the United States of America. So it remains to be seen if he will withdraw the case formally before the court this morning or not.
Many thanks, Amaka Okafor, and that's how we wrap things up here on Lunchtime Politics. You can definitely see more of our stories on our website, and that's channelstv.com. Many thanks for watching. I'm Millicent Walker. I'll see you soon.